It is complete mayhem out there with all of the things that are going on right now. Like, there is a blockbuster news headline every 2 hours right now. But just in, depending on whenever you watch this, might air this later today or tomorrow, you're probably a day behind. Bank of Canada just cut its benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points. It is now 2.75? Yeah, 2.75% is the policy rate. And that means your variable rate mortgage, I believe, is in the low 4%. Not 100% on that, not a mortgage broker. Still doesn't really mean anything, right? Because you're still getting fixed rates cheaper than you are variable, which has been the case the entire time. Like, we need to see the overnight lending rate come down like another 0.5 before it actually starts making a difference for the most part. I mean, yeah, there's people out there that have variable mortgages and their payments are going down, and that's awesome. But in as it pertains to like buyer demand in real estate, you're going to need to see the overnight lending rate go down probably like another 0.5 at least before it starts making a difference. Okay, so in its decision, the Bank of Canada acknowledged recent strength in the economy, but noted that the intensifying trade conflict is weighing on sentiment and activity. Absolutely, that is definitely happening right now. Even myself, I had 3 or 4 buyers this month that backed out that all said the same thing. Tariffs, right? And I understand. While economic growth has come in stronger than expected, their pervasive uncertainty created by continuously changing U.S. tariff threats is restraining consumer spending intentions and businesses' plans to hire and invest, the central bank said in a statement alongside the decision. Against this background, and with inflation close to 2% target, governing council decided to reduce the policy rate by a further 25 basis points. So they're saying that White adds, any tariff component of the BOC's policy response today is to the chaotic effect of the rhetoric and not the tariffs themselves, given that the net long-term effect of tariffs, should they persist, will be inflationary as they drive up cost of producing goods. Which they do, but I don't know. Like, I think this would probably destroy the economy so much that it would be disinflationary or deflationary. Again, I'm not an economist, right? But that's how I would see that playing out personally. So then they're saying that the market reaction following the announcement suggests investors are acknowledging that a follow-up rate cut in April is no longer a slam dunk, he added. Our forecast has embedded a more gradual rate cut profile than would be expected absent the upward pressures on inflation. But clearly the BOC will want to assess the early evidence both on growth and inflation before offering more accommodation. So the next rate cut, I believe, is April 16th, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, we're already talking about maybe holding rates April 16th. Like, we've had that conversation the last 2 rate cuts. I think they said, yeah, we're going to cut this time, but we might not cut in the next one. April 16th in this current environment is like an eternity away from now. It is a whole nother lifetime from now with everything that is changing in one day. Like, I have news from 2 days ago. I have news from yesterday afternoon. That's already old news. Never mind April 6th. We might not even be Canada by April 16th. It might be the Republic of the United States by April 6th. Obviously, I'm joking, but like, this is how fast things are changing, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't really put much merit on that currently. So RBC saying there won't be a race to the bottom for interest rates. The BOC will support the economy through a trade shock, but not at the expense of sacrificing the credibility of longer run inflation targets, says RBC senior economist. On Wednesday, BOC Governor Tiff Macklem acknowledged the bank's limitation, saying monetary policy cannot offset the impacts of a trade war. Fan expects the bank to cut its policy rate to 2.25% by around mid-year, so another 0.5. We continue to expect, and consistent with BOC communication today, that there won't be a race to the bottom for interest rates and beyond those previously expected cuts this year, she wrote. So like I said, like, how does anybody, like, home sales in the Fraser Valley are down roughly 30%. I think sales to actives new listings ratios are pacing for like 25% this month in March. So like one of the worst Marches ever, if not the worst ever. And the reason being is, like, when it's tariffs, no tariffs, tariffs, no tariffs, tariffs, no tariffs, World War III, ceasefire World War III, never mind, don't ceasefire World War III, China tariffs, bigger, more scary tariffs. Okay, forget the big scary tariffs. We're going to keep the normal tariffs now. Okay, maybe take them away. Now it's normal tariffs again. Like, how does anybody make a decision to do anything within their life when this is the environment we're in? When every 2 hours, something like structurally fundamental is changing. I saw this funny meme posted by Dan Foch. I'm adding tariffs. This will create jobs. I'm removing tariffs. Art of the deal. I'm adding tariffs. Create jobs. I'm removing tariffs. are the deal. But even just like looking at my feed from yesterday, right? Like Jagmeet calls on federal government to ban President Trump from entering Canada. President Trump did the impossible. He just secured a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine. President Trump raises tariffs on Canadian steel to 50%. Ukraine has agreed to a 30-day ceasefire, but Russia now has to agree. Oh, look, now Russia's not agreeing to the 30-day ceasefire. Oh, now they're going to agree to the ceasefire if they get an election in Ukraine. And this is all just like from yesterday afternoon. Like it's literally like every hour, every 2 hours, there's some blockbuster breaking piece of news that is just like destroying the current sentiment within the market. Like there is zero certainty to build a business, buy assets, or do anything at the moment just because of like literal Twitter fingers right now. So, we're talking about slowing the pace of interest rate cuts going forward. Again, I'm not fully convinced on that. I think we've said that for the last couple rate cuts now. I mean, they've been saying that the entire time, higher for longer. And then when they, obviously didn't do that and they cut interest rates 2% over the course of like 8 months, then now that the last like 3 rate cuts, they've been talking about pausing rates. And the whole time they've been cutting rates, they've been talking about the fact that they're not going to be cutting rates, right? So I'm not fully sold on this idea that they're going to slow the progression of rate cuts. And I mean, the next one is in April. Who knows what's going to happen from now until April? Like I said, that is a lifetime away from now. But it will be interesting to see if all of this Twitter stuff eventually calms down. Will people be somewhat interested in purchasing real estate again? Because right now, it seems like there is almost no interest in purchasing real estate at the moment. And I can't blame people with all of this going on. And like I said before, January was a really good month. Things were positive. Stuff was selling. Buyers were coming back into the market. This whole Twitter stuff started popping off with all the tariffs and all of this. And then buyer demand completely died. So whether we have the tariffs or we don't, if certainty comes back that either we have them or we don't have them, are we going to see some demand come back into the market? But yeah, we are in some volatile times right now. And all I can say is I hope that we finally get some certainty on these tariffs in the next couple weeks here. So maybe things can kind of get back to some normalcy. If you want to chat with me about buying or selling in the Fraser Valley, you can use my calendar link down below. Otherwise, I just appreciate you for watching the content. Like, subscribe. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you. Peace.